Thank you, and good morning. Welcome to People's Church. I'm Gordon Bolar, a member of the Sunday Services Committee. I'm here to welcome you, those who are sitting here and online remotely through Zoom. Thank you for attending this morning. People's Church is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association, part of a long liberal tradition in religion. Liberalism has a faith that although the path of progress is uncertain, if we work together, we can shape our church community along with broader communities toward a better future. And speaking of communities, we will hear from later on our Director of Religious Education, Diane Melvin, on a sermon on community as resistance and rest as resistance. So she will be delivering that. A few announcements before I start. Actually, there might be more than a few announcements. First of all, there's a sermon discussion in the Buddha room at 12:15 afterwards. And then on February the 15th, there will be a dance party for Reverend Rachel to celebrate 10 years of shared ministry. I believe that's from 6 to 8:30. We'll have to check the times on that. And we also have our annual silent auction to talk about. I'm going to talk about that first, and then I have one final announcement. Each year we hold a fast and fun auction of services and items from peoples to people in a silent bid auction. It only lasts a couple of weeks, but it results in great experiences, helpful services, beautiful items, delectable foods, and new relationships. And we raise money to support our church program. So there is a link in the electronic bulletin that you've got. I couldn't really announce the link because it's a little complicated, but not that complicated when you click on it. So you might go on that and see. The kickoff takes place on February the 9th, and we may need people to help make cookies for that. But all bidding will be done online. It's tech-friendly, and there are helpers to assist you. There's some items that I can give you ideas for that you might want to contribute, such as family-friendly activity experiences, fruit pies, pastel paintings, a day at Lake Michigan, home energy audit, a meal, a movie, picnics, tea parties, cookouts, jewelry, brewery outing with beer, fancy breads, genealogy research, easy for me to say, yeah, dog walking, child care, felted and woven items, and more. So get creative, submit your items, and think about bidding on this. Eli in the church office can help you if you would like to provide cookies for the kickoff. And now we have one final item, and I will ask Olive and Taya to come forward. And this is connected with a collection that we had last week from CARE Kalamazoo. And these young ladies, young women, are going to tell you just a word or two about that. So if you'll stand up here and just...
Hi, everyone can donate money to Care Collective, Southwest Michigan, to provide period products for those in need.
Yeah. I'm Olive. Any little bit will help. Just look up like Care Collective, I think it's swmi.org, and donate any little bit.
Thank you very much for that announcement.
Good morning. Welcome to People's Church. We're so glad you've come today. Our opening words come from Mark Bellatini from his book Sonata for Voice and Silence. It's a poem called Slower and Slower. Let the difficulties of the week take their Sabbath now, their brief and simple rest. Let the worries of the week lay their heft gently down into the dark earth below this carpeted floor, which can bear them with greater ease than any one of us can ourselves. Let the tangle of feelings, the push and pull of these last 7 days sit still for a minute. stop writhing in our hearts and move no more than a Buddha at rest under a tree. Let there be stillness in my heart for a moment. The balance point between breathing in and breathing out. Like the pause of a dancer between the movements of the music. Let the breathing in this room be free flowing. Let our pulses slow in their rhythm in our wrists. Let the coming silence be like hands pulling back a curtain, revealing the table set with the feast of life, which is present here and now, and has been the whole while. Present to those who give up living in either the past or the future. Let us come together, let us worship together.
I invite you to rise and embody your spirit. Rachel and I will be singing these two separate parts, and I encourage you to pick the one that speaks to you. Okay. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease, will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name, will you ease, will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Last time. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.
And now for our chalice lighting this morning, I will invite Maura Baird forward to help us light our chalice. Is Maura here? There she is. Oh, good. I didn't see you, Maura. Come on up. You know where the candle is, right? You've done this before. Diane will assist her. Good. And if you are lighting a chalice at home, you're encouraged to type in the chat box, a chalice is lit or lighted in your neighborhood, city, or street. Our chalice reading this morning is from Brian C. Lee, The Light Within Us. We light our chalice as a symbol of light within us and the life that flows through the world around us. It is our beacon as we search for truth. It is the warmth in our hearts for love. It is the energy that propels us to action. May we be kindled by our time together.
I would love to invite anybody up who would like to hear a story. One of my favorite stories about Peaceful Piggy. Hi, Alice.
I'm so tired.
It's called Peaceful Piggy Meditation. Does Piggy look kind of peaceful there?
Yeah.
This is a time when you've seen this book before? That's awesome. It's the kind of book you need to see more than once, I think, to find peace in these times.
I remember you.
Sometimes the world can be such a busy, noisy place. Has anybody ever noticed that? Sometimes it feels like you always have to hurry, hurry, hurry. And you feel like you can't slow down, even when you're sitting down. It can be hard not to lose your temper when you get angry. And you can get really frustrated when things don't go your way. Has that ever happened to any of you?
No.
If that happens, it's very good to have a peaceful place inside. It is good to meditate. Peaceful piggies know when to take a break and find a spot and just, exactly, breathe, breathe, breathe. Let's all take a great big huge giant breath together. Your parents might set up a special place with a few things, maybe a crystal for clear thinking, or a stone for stillness, or even a flower to represent kindness.
Yeah.
Peaceful piggies sit like royalty on their throne, sitting up straight with their shoulders back, feeling like the solid earth beneath them and a giant vast sky all around them. Every day they sit, feeling their breath going in and out until their minds calm down and their bodies.
Let me hear mine.
So peaceful piggies feel free like a bird in the sky and as calm as a pond on a cool, clear night. You know how nice it is to feel peaceful and calm inside? This makes it easier to accept things that happen and to stop wishing for things to be different. This poor little piggy, what happened here? What happened? What?
So, still bad happened to me.
Yeah, their little goldfish died, and they're feeling really sad about that. And this little piggy is trying to dive off a very high diving board. It says when you're peaceful, you can be truly fearless. And I'm not sure I actually agree with that, because I think that fear is you're never actually fearless. But I do think that when we feel peaceful inside, we can work through our fear and not be run by it. So fearlessness might be overrated. Best of all, when you're feeling peaceful, you like who you are just as you are. And then it's easier to face the truth about yourself. Here, this little piggy's saying to the other one, I may better say I'm sorry because I was mean, because that happens sometimes. And it's easier to stand up to others. It feels like this little piggy might be being bullied and this big one is taking their lollipop. And this one's gonna step in and stick up for the one that's being bullied. I think it's right there. Can you see that little guy's face? It's quite small. You'd need your bifocals for that. So it's easier to stand up for others, and peaceful piggies take good care of their friends. Here, I think they're having a birthday cake for their buddy. Here it says peaceful piggies even take care of their enemies. Well, that's interesting. They're reaching out to the one that was a bully and trying to create some kindness. They try to be loving and kind to all beings. And that can be really hard, even worms. I actually really like worms, so that one's not so hard. By slowing down, peaceful piggies notice all the magical little things in life, like the way raindrops race down the windows after each other, and the way clouds tell silent stories, and the way birds sing songs just for you. And having a happy, peaceful place inside helps keep a happy heart happy, so that even on horrible, painful, disgustingly rotten days, a peaceful piggy can still smile. I want to teach you a little technique that peaceful piggies know when you're feeling afraid or anxious or worried. Have you ever felt like that before?
Yeah.
Me too. So what you can do is you can take your hand, and all ages can do this. You can take your hand and put it behind your neck, right here, and you just want to put a very light pressure right there. Your vagus nerve runs all the way down your spine and into your organs. And when you put your hand here and take 3 deep breaths, let's do that together.
Ready, guys?
1, 2,
3.
It puts a little bit of pressure there, and it tells your whole nervous system that it's okay, that you're safe right now, and it helps you to calm down in your body and feel a little bit happier. So the next time you're feeling worried and you want to be feeling like a peaceful piggy, you can do that just simple technique and help to bring more calmness and peace into your body. Piggy just kept going right on doing his meditation and breathing and trying to have a calm, peaceful, happy heart in the midst of all of it. Well, he had that terrible day where he tripped and hurt his toe. So with that, you guys can go to your classes.
Go forth in peace in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way. And may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go. Go forth in peace in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way. And may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go.
People's people support the work of the congregation with their time, talent, and treasure. Our programs are maintained in part by the voluntary financial generosity of members and friends. To this end, let there be an offering to sustain the work of this beloved community. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Please join me in giving thanks for all that sustains us. From the countless gifts we have each been given, gifts, life, love, and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love which none of us can accomplish alone. Each Sunday, we take a moment to share with one another the joys and concerns, sorrows, and milestones in our lives. If you're here in person, I invite you to come forward, place a stone in the bowl of water here, and speak briefly and state your name. For those on Zoom who would like to share, please type a message in your chat box, and I will find a way to read your message aloud. If you would prefer not to share the details, you may say so or type the word stone in, and we'll keep you in our thoughts. And we'll pause the recording so you'll have, excuse me, some measure of privacy. So, sources of reason and radiance, sources of courage and compassion, keep watch with those who work or watch or weep today. May the suffering be soothed. May the weary find rest. May the sick be tended. May the dying and those who love them find peace. May the joyous be shielded. And may all of us know that we are wrapped in love that surrounds us always, a web that connects us to all that exists. Our spoken meditation this morning is by Cole Arthur Riley, entitled "For When Rest Feels Like Risk." Rested God, we want more than a life lived exhausted. That you have woven healing rhythms of rest into our minds and bodies reminds us we are worthy of habitual restoration. Keep us from apologizing for our own healing, that we would know that when we pause or rest, we are restoring not only our own bodies, but the very condition of a world held captive by greed and utility. We grow weary of societies who view us as more machine than human, more product than soul. The fear that we won't survive without overworking stalks our days. Liberate us from the depraved socioeconomic structures that require the poor and vulnerable sacrifice their own rest at the altar of survival and opportunity. Protect us from fear as we rest with you, breathe with you. Remind us that the beauty and paradox of our humanness is that we were made to close our eyes that we might see. May it be so.
I encourage you to do a stretch upward to sing together. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Our first reading this morning is from Poems from Rest is Sacred by Octavia F. Rahim, and it's entitled, The Earth is Trying to Tell Us to Rest. The soil that plans to yield a great harvest for seasons and generations to come can't always be producing. At times, it must lie fallow, unsown, unseeded. It must have moments, if not seasons, where it is not being plowed, picked at, worked, or produced upon. It must rest. Fallowing soil is a method of sustainable land management that has been used by wise farmers all over the world. On the surface, such periods may look like nothing at all is happening, yet beneath the surface, in the brilliant darkness of blackness, an entire universe, an ecosystem is transforming into a place that yields wild abundance. The benefits of allowing land to lie fallow are not unlike the benefits of allowing yourself to rest.
Our second reading today also comes from Octavia F. Rahim's book, Rest is Sacred, Reclaiming Our Brilliance Through the Practice of Stillness. The world needs more well-rested leaders who have internalized what it means to move at the speed of trust. A while back, she says, I had a dream that felt so real I could smell the well-seasoned earth in it when I awoke. In the dream, there were many people that were carrying baskets walking through fields of wildflowers. And at the front of the line, there were elders who walked with dignity and grace. Behind them, there were people of all ages who strolled with ease, lightness, and an air of vitality and joy. And behind them, there were teens and children and toddlers and wobbly little ones who moved freely, giggling, jumping, dancing, skipping, and playing along. And behind that, there was a great divine parent and guardian whose presence felt protective. They were the keeper of the processional. They held the littlest ones and the elders who couldn't walk on their own in a vast embrace. I was in that line as my current self, she says. My future self stood with outstretched arms and head tilted toward the sky in the center of the field as a witness to the generations of well-rested people gathering together for a reunion. My ancestors and my descendants were represented in every layer of the line, forward and backwards. The line slowly turned into a circle, and everybody put down their blankets and spread out their quilts and their baskets. Under the blue sky and the warm sun, ready for a picnic. The great parent placed the babies and the eldest of the elders down and began to hum a lullaby full of wisdom and prayers and incantations to set us free from the bondage of overworking. Everyone began to hum. The ground, the trees, the birds, the butterflies, and then there was a collective inhale, followed by an exhale. And after that, we all rested together in complete silence. I woke up from this dream with tears in my eyes, and I felt a wave of peace, healing, clarity, and purpose. It was all a dream. And it was also real.
Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on. Carry on, carry on. This one knocked me to the ground. This one dropped me to my knees. I should have seen it coming, but it surprised me. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on. In a state of true believers, on streets called us and them, It's gonna take some time till the world feels safe again. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on. You can rest here in Brown Chapel or with a circle of friends, a quiet grove of trees or between two bookends. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on, carry on.
A couple of weeks ago, I spent the weekend tucked into a small cabin in the woods on spiritual retreat for several days by myself. On this annual pilgrimage to Gilchrist, a little retreat center in Three Rivers, I generally fast from solid foods, from social media, from technology. It's interesting how I find my withdrawal from social media is almost as difficult as not eating for 3 days. There is no phone signal in the cabin. Instead, there is a glider rocker and a large picture window where I spend hours in Heathwood rocking in silence, watching the snow fall and the birds eat on the feeders. As I sit and fast and rock, I invite my full presence to simply be with myself without constant distractions, which is difficult. It is unnerving how often I pick up my phone and stare at it, even though I have no signal and no feeds are being refreshed, only to say, "Put down your phone, Diane." I invite a release of all that I am holding on to in my body, my heart, my spirit. And I'm always amazed that even after days of stillness and solitude and silence and rest, I still hold on to so much. On the third day, I was sitting and rocking, and my whole body had an exhale so great that I had a shudder run through my body, releasing yet another layer that I wasn't even aware I was holding, because our nervous systems take time to decompress. When I am on retreat, I engage in the practices that most nourish my body, my mind, and my spirit in an effort to recalibrate my nervous system, rebalance, recenter, reground my energy, my being. And these include a little peaceful piggy daily meditation, somatic practices, journaling, lots and lots of reading. I always bring way more books than I could ever possibly read in a weekend. And usually some sort of creative outlet, coloring or drawing or needle felting or knitting. And I always do some hiking through the woods and the trails, sometimes the labyrinth. Frequently, this retreat is combined with study leave for me, and so I usually am doing some writing of articles or curriculum or a sermon, such as this one. The best part for me is that in those 3 days, I get to listen within and follow my own natural rhythm. In contrast to the rest of my life, where I always feel as though I am rushing and pushing and steeling myself to go faster than I want to go and do more than I really have capacity to do. Instead, I follow my own rhythm and I allow my days to flow where I feel called. And while the fasting takes inordinate amounts of self-discipline, the overall experience is soft and gentle, listening to my intuition and flowing with ease and grace. This spiritual and self-care practice of retreat is essential for me in order to be my best self in the world. Spiritually, during these times, I'm able to step back from the rush and the hustle and the grind of my daily life, and I can touch in to a larger perspective. I connect with a deeper, more vast essence of life, and it helps me to refine my place in the world. I feel reminded that I am holy and divine, and not just a cog in the wheel led by the ring in my nose called my to-do list, which is never ending. In order for me to really experience that connection with that larger, more vast presence in the universe, I need time away to slow down. Stillness, slowness, solitude, silence, rest, nature. These are portals for me to connect with what really matters. As a spiritual seeker, this is where I connect with divinity, that larger spirit of love with a capital L, where I lean into a mystery greater than my individual self, and I can more easily release my fears and my grasping onto my small ego self, and I can surrender into a larger essence of love. I always return from these retreats feeling more deeply connected to the truth of who I am and the gifts that I bring into this world, with a calm and a regulated nervous system. I spend a lot of time with my hand on my back of my neck with just that little bit of pressure, breathing, rocking. This is just one example of a self-care practice in which I engage to try to be my best self in the world. I invite you to contemplate what some of your practices are. What are some of your self-care practices that help center you, ground you, bring you home to your true self, connect you with something larger? Because I need to acknowledge that going on a silent, spiritual, solitary retreat is not really common. I'm plugged for days on end. In a world that worships busyness and productivity, consumerism, and frenetic activity levels, people are often astounded that I choose to do this with my time. Why would you go to a cabin if you don't have any Wi-Fi? For 3 days? What are you going to do? Yeah, it seems like an anomaly to so many people. So I want to emphasize that while that's a big time commitment and kind of large, there are so many smaller ways to rest and center and care for ourselves. And I imagine that you all have some that work for you. And I encourage you to make time in your life to make these a priority. I hope in the after-service discussion today that you guys can share some of these ways with each other, some of these practices, because I think it would be really meaningful to cross-pollinate and compare what other people do that help them to feel centered and grounded in times like these. The Protestant work ethic has taught us that idleness is laziness, and that is sinful. And as a result, so many people today feel so guilty when they take time to retreat or rest or relax, recharge. We are socialized to think that we need to earn rest. And thus, it is often at the very tail end of our to-do list. And yet, when we hustle, exhausted through our days, we perpetuate grind culture. Tricia Hersey, in her book, Rest is Resistance, informs us that grind culture is a collaboration of capitalism and white supremacy culture. When you add patriarchy and colonialism into the mix, we are living under enormous systems created for the wealth and benefit of a small class of white, wealthy, land-owning, cis, hetero men, at the expense of the rest of the people and the species on this planet. Hersey reminds us that capitalism was created on plantations with the roots of violence and theft. These systems were not designed so that the workers could have happy, well-balanced lives. They were designed and continue to be maintained to perpetuate the power and the privilege of the few on the backs of the many. The hierarchical paradigm that suggests that some people are better than others based on their race, their sexuality, their gender, their class. These just perpetuate false divisions that pit people against one another. These systems spread false messages so that people from all walks of life, often unwittingly, uphold and perpetuate them in various ways, so often at our own expense. The systems are designed to keep us busy and laboring so that we do not have the time or the capacity to resist. Hersey says to be colonized is to accept and buy into the lie of our worth being connected to how much we get done. She says we are slowly indoctrinated into the cult of urgency and disconnection via white supremacy culture. Unraveling ourselves from grind culture and resting are actually ways that we contribute to dismantling these systems. Hersey indicates that we all need more well-rested time to dream up alternatives to these unsustainable systems. Her latest book is called We Will Rest: The Art of Escape, and it's designed of how to be an escape artist and a trickster from white supremacy capitalist grind systems, filled with amazing art and beautiful poems. As Unitarian Universalists, we have embraced Martin Luther King Jr.'s description of the beloved community. Coretta Scott King describes it this way: the beloved community is a realistic vision of an achievable society, one in which problems and conflicts do exist, but are resolved peacefully and without bitterness. In the beloved community, caring, compassion are what drive our political policies that support the worldwide elimination of poverty and hunger and all forms of bigotry and violence. And while that may feel extra unrealistic after enduring this past week, there is enduring truth to be lived in these ideas. In her talks about the book Braiding Sweetgrass, Robin Wall Kimmerer presents an alternative, sustainable worldview and way of living. She describes the uplift that she experiences when she travels around the country and visits college campuses. And the students describe the various ways that they try to resist these dominant systems. Everything from communal housing collectives to small-scale free stores, collaborative meals, and grassroots environmental activism. At People's Church, we are great at many of these things, including potluck meals, meal trains that we offer collective care to one another with. Community collaboration is one of our strengths. And while individualism is worshiped in our larger society, I invite you, in our larger society, at the heart of the sustainable way forward lies in community. And I invite you to take a moment to think of some of the communities in which you are engaged in your lives. Organizations, groups of people. How many other communities are as intergenerational as this one at People's Church? How many of your other communities have the stated goals of living in right relations while rooted in love, building the beloved community while serving our diverse world? This community at People's Church has what is needed to support each other in these times, while providing the basis for sustainable resistance to unjust systems on the path forward towards liberation. Our shared Unitarian Universalist values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, rooted in love, provide a foundation and a theology, a theological basis for the path forward. Individual actions are important, and they can only accomplish so much, especially against rising fascism. We are so much stronger and more effective together than we are individually. Working together within a community is the most sustainable way forward. And so we are richly blessed to be a part of this community where we can work together for justice and for liberation. At the heart of People's Church is the people. And over the past 23 years that I have served this congregation, I have met and known some of the most phenomenal people in the world. I truly believe that one of the most important things that we can do right now in these times is to simply show up. Come to church. There are people and their activities here all week long, but the heart, the center of this community lies right now on Sunday mornings. There is a palatable energy felt in this building on Sunday mornings. If you're here right now, can you feel it in the room? Yes, amen. It is the symphony of all of our individual energies merging together. Your individual presence makes a difference. It is an integral instrument needed to make the musical whole of this symphony every week. It matters that you are here. We have had so many people walk through our doors in the past few months since the election, and these folks are seeking. They are seeking community. They are seeking connection. It matters that you are here. It matters that you're here to meet and greet them. It matters that you're here to meet and greet each other. We need to be together in community because there is comfort and there is solidarity in each other's presence. We need to introduce ourselves to folks that we don't know and talk to each other and get to know each other. Listen to each other's stories, feelings, ideas. It matters that we show up. I encourage people to actually plan to arrive to church by 10:30 on Sunday mornings. Then there's time to actually hang up your coat, get a warm drink, greet people, and find your seat prior to the beginning of the service. When possible, I invite you to plan to remain for a little bit after the service for coffee hour, or join the service discussion in room 9, or look around the foyer and introduce yourself to somebody you don't know. I know that that can feel really scary, and it's really important. These are scary times. And this is one of the ways that we can build community. It's how we deepen our connections. And deepening connections is one of the ways that we can resist. You just need to channel your inner Bishop Marianne buddy, who found the courage to speak truth to power. Wow, talk about courage. Surely we can cultivate the courage to introduce ourselves to each other in this building on a Sunday morning, if that is one of the ways that we can offer some resistance. We are stronger together, and as Carrie Newcomer says, together we can be a refuge, a sanctuary in the storm, for each other and for those in our community. Together, we can work through our fears, and we can rise up and act from love. In her book, All About Love, Bell Hooks says, cultures of domination rely on the cultivation of fear as a way to ensure obedience. Fear is the primary force upholding structures of domination. It provides the desire for separation, the desire to not be known. We are taught that safety lies always within sameness, and then difference of any kind appears as a threat. When we choose to love, we choose to move against fear, against alienation, against separation. The choice to love is a choice to connect, to find ourselves in the other. In order to resist the fear and evil around us, we must take exquisite care of ourselves, find the practices to help you remain grounded in love, connect with the people who encourage you to rise up and be your best selves. Show up. Never forget that your presence matters. Speak your truth and remain connected. We are stronger together. I always appreciate Mr. Rogers. Whenever there were times of great tragedy or peril, he would always say, look for the helpers, for there are always helpers. And that is one of the things that gives us hope to persevere through the challenges and the dark times. Look for the helpers. Be a helper. Show up. Together, we make a positive difference. Sometimes when I'm feeling really overwhelmed and like life is very in a dark tunnel and I can't find the light, it's often usually because I'm feeling completely exhausted and overwhelmed in my life. But after I have opportunities to go on retreat or to rest and I'm feeling rejuvenated, it makes me, when I feel that light in the tunnel, I'm motivated by one of the poems that Octavia Rahim says in her book, Rest is Sacred. The poem says, she asked, what will be different because you were here? She replied, people will breathe easier because I was here. People will laugh more because I was here. People will have more access to their tears because I was here. And people are more gentle with themselves and each other and the earth because I was here. When I am rested, I feel like I can lean into being that person. And when I feel a light in the tunnel, it makes me want to turn around and pass that light behind me. So this past fall, I went to a conference of my professional religious educators, and the keynote was on rest. And I was challenged to consider, how can I offer more opportunities to rest in my congregation? So my response to that challenge is that I am going to offer a second Sunday room for rest from 10 to 10:30 in room 9 in the Buddha room with childcare provided. I thought that was a better title than Second Sunday Restroom because it had a different connotation to it. And this room is going to be open and available for whomever shows up, whenever whatever you most need. I will fill it with amazing books and card decks and resources that I have on rest. And I just invite people to simply show up and breathe and rest with no expectations. We'll see it. We'll try it as an experiment the next 4 or 5 months and see if it's something that people could use. Did I mention there's childcare provided? And I'm gonna warm up some hot water for tea in the kitchen if you want a cup before you go in. In his book, My Grandmother's Hands, Rensma Mannequin emphasizes the importance of having a calm, well-balanced nervous system to most skillfully respond to the upheaval and the chaos all around us. This is especially true right now. This chaos is consciously designed to keep us feeling fearful and anxious. This is the time to know what practices ground and center you, and make it a priority to do more of those things. When we are calm in our own bodies and hearts and minds, and then we can be most beneficial to our communities and those who most need us. Instead of reacting to the fear-mongering, we must work together to skillfully respond to these threats in our communities. Simply showing up makes a difference. Looking for the helpers can help us move away from despair. Be a helper in any of the ways that you are able. Sticking together, we provide sanctuary for each other. As we move into the days ahead, I envision us moving forward with outstretched arms, and on one hand, we are gently holding the exquisite beauty and the joy that the world offers, and very tenderly, in the other hand, we are balancing the heartache and the fear and the pain. And yet every day, with our feet rooted in love, we put one step in front of the other every single day, over and over again. Together, we will persevere. May it be so, and blessed be.
Thank you so much, Diane. I invite you one last time to rise and body your spirit to sing ourselves out. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
As we prepare to leave this sacred place, may we remember to slow down and to rest. May we take exquisite care of ourselves and each other. And may we, in the words of my colleague Meredith Plummer, let community be our salvation, let joy be our resistance, and let love be our guide. Let all we do be done in love. Go in peace and go in love. Amen.